All right, so we're going to look at the last free response from 2016 that we're going to work on. That's number 5. It says a polling agency showed the following two statements to a random sample of 1,048 adults in the U.S. I'm just going to highlight this because we know it's 1,048. First statement was environment statement. Protection of the environment should be given priority over economic growth, and the economy statement is that economic growth should be given priority over protection of the environment. So they asked them these two questions, and they said, pick the one that you feel is most important. And the order they asked them was also different. Okay, that's good. That's important. That could lead to some bias, so they did that. And this is what they got. 58% of people said the environment was most important, that statement. 37% said the economy, and 5% said neither. So part A, assume the conditions for inference have been met. Construct and interpret a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of adults who would have chosen economy. So economy, the p-hat is 0.37, and you're creating a confidence interval around that. Again, you could do it in the calculator. So assuming conditions are met, a couple of things here. Name it. It's a 95% confidence interval for P, where P is the true proportion of adults who would have chosen the economy statement. I did it in the calculator. Put your N as 1,048. Put your P hat as 0.37 and fill it in. And there you go. It's a 1 prop Z int. 1 proportion Z interval. Proportions is always Z. And you get 0.341 to 0.399. We are 95% confident that the true proportion of U.S. adults that would have chosen the economy statement is between 0.341 and 0.399. Part B, one of the conditions for inference is that the number who chose economy statement and the number who did not choose economy statement are both greater than 10. Explain why it's necessary. So I wrote a little paragraph here, and I said, if the number who chose the statements were too small, then NP hat greater than or equal to 10 and or NQ hat greater than or equal to 10 may not be met, which would mean the distribution would not be approximately normal. The reason 10 is the number, the reason it must be greater than 10 is that 1,048 times 10 out of 1,048 is equal to 10, and therefore that would meet the condition, so 10 is the minimum that you must have. Right, they're saying specifically, why do you need at least 10 people to say yes, or at least 10 people to say no to that statement? And then part C says, a suggestion was made to use a 2-sample Z interval for the difference between proportions to investigate whether there is a difference between adults in the U.S. who would have chosen environment and those who would have chosen the economy statement. Is a 2-sample Z interval appropriate? Well, I'm going to tell you first why it's not. What you would have to do is you would have to survey two completely different populations. So you might say, is it different amongst males and females? And then you would ask it to males, separately ask it to females, and see if there's a difference between the proportion who chose the economy statement. But in this case, it's just asking one group of U.S. adults, and you're getting different results. So I wrote, no, a 2-sample Z interval would not be appropriate. 2-sample Z intervals should be used when taking 2 independent samples, but our data was collected from 1 sample of U.S. adults. Okay, and that's 2016's tests.